Good afternoon, Yuba Sutter. This is the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, and we'll be live for the next 2 hours out here at Mount Huth, 1410 AM, The Patriot.
And 104.3 FM.
Tearing it up.
Really anxious today.
And don't forget the live stream if the reception's not great.
Yes, http://kmycradio.com/player.php.
Or just Google 1410 AM.
Yeah, how about kmycradio.com? Yeah.
For all the simple-minded folk out there.
I know. For those in
Palermo.
yeah.
All my buddies in Palermo. Oh, boy. Well, you know, what a week. The headquarters is finally complete. I mean,
Yes.
I can say that it is 100% complete.
98.
I know.
Yeah.
We
There's
got-
always something else.
There's always something to do.
Yes, but thank you, Tom and Mary Burns, for showing up yesterday and spending like most of the day scrubbing and all that good stuff. And it looks so spick and span.
Wasn't on my plan, but just worked out that way. You know
Yeah,
what
that's
I mean?
kind of what I told Jason. We got home. I'm like, yeah, I didn't get anything done today I was supposed to. I had a bunch of flyers I was supposed to work on. Didn't happen.
Me, I was planning on just chilling, you know?
You went to Sam's, your favorite
Yes,
place.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of sampling done?
I thought, no, we didn't do any grocery grazing.
You're grazing.
We were looking for some trash cans. I couldn't find one in the place for sale. Yeah, so we ended up going to Lowe's.
So they ended up stealing them from the lady who was giving out the samples.
They have plenty of them around there, but none for sale. So
So yes, the headquarters is now outfitted with trash cans, thanks to Tom. And Mary came and installed all the skirts around our tables. They look awesome now. And then Mary sewed up all of our material into curtains for us. And Jason and Tom hung the curtains yesterday, and it looks awesome.
Killer.
So,
And
yeah.
Wednesday we had our first disastrous Facebook Live
Yeah.
that went
yes,
horribly wrong.
We're getting our feet wet a little bit, trying to figure it out. We'll get there.
Well, I hope you get it figured out soon.
Me?
Yes.
and we played around a little bit with that 360 video. Watched a couple of those. That is amazing
Yeah,
technology.
that's cool.
Yeah.
I was impressed. We got to figure that out. Do a 360 video from the headquarters.
Yeah.
Let me get the Facebook Live going first.
Oh, okay.
Let me get that down
Always,
first.
we're always pushing the envelope.
It's hard to do with your iPad in the trash can over there.
Somebody got a little frustrated earlier.
I pulled it out. It's back out.
Oh, okay.
Took it out of the
Salvage
garbage.
that baby,
Yes.
all right.
Yeah. Throwing things and bouncing stuff off the glass here at the window. That's why they keep me in the separate room, because so I can't hurt anybody.
Well, now that our Yuba Sutter Republican headquarters is up and running, it will be open beginning Monday through Friday from 5 to 8. And we do have folks stepping forward to volunteer to staff it. We'd appreciate more people from our groups to step forward and volunteer so that the same people aren't stuck there all the time. So, but that will be happening, and we've got a lot of campaign material already. So if you need some yard signs, want some campaign material, drop by, and we've got plenty, and there's more being dropped off continuously. We cannot keep the Brandon Barnes yard signs in stock, and I hear they're on order again. So temporarily out of stock, but soon to be replenished.
I never took mine down.
Well, we didn't
Me
either.
neither.
But in the headquarters, we can't keep them.
I know.
They just flying off the shelves.
It's a hot commodity.
Yes, it
Hey,
is.
I still had my Jeff Pierce sign up, okay, down at my shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed up yesterday and somebody had stolen it.
Well, probably Jeff Pierce. He's supposed to take him down. And
Well,
if
I
they're-
mean, it's been up for months.
Well-
You think so?
yeah, I would imagine he did, because it's an FPPC violation if he leaves them up. Even if you leave it up, it's still a violation against him if somebody turns him in. So he probably came by and somebody told him it was there, and he came by and pulled it down, I'd imagine.
I thought it was someone using it for a sunshade or something down at the river.
Well, probably.
Could be too.
That could
because
be, well, that very well
I
could be.
mean, they took that and only one post.
Well, the other one must have been a little bit harder to get out.
Yeah, it was hard to get out.
Sounds
So-
like the makings of a tent.
Anyway, that's a mystery.
Yeah,
We just
lean-to.
don't know what happened there.
Well, Jeff Pierce, those signs they're vintage now. They're collector items, right?
Yeah.
My
And mine's
neighbor
gone.
has one. My neighbor has one. I'm going to ask him, hey, I want to just put all signs in the garage. You know how people have different,
Yes.
You know.
Yes, I plan to do that with a bunch of signs in my carport one day. One of these days.
Yep.
Okay, so anyway, we got the
Well,
headquarters.
speaking of Jeff Pierce, we have an endorsement from Jeff Pierce, right? He's now officially endorsed Brandon Barnes. I guess maybe isn't just now. It's been about a week or so.
yep,
So that's out there. That was awesome.
yes.
So anybody who supported Jeff Pierce, we hope that you'll come on over and support Brandon Barnes.
Yeah.
And our headquarters, we need, a lot of volunteers.
We
Because
really do.
We want to make, phone calls for candidates and, get the machine rolling. So we got the infrastructure. Now we need.
Mary and Sherry Dunn, Maynard and Sherry Dunn stepped up and said to give them a ring whenever we need them.
Well, you had me scared there for a minute when you said Mary and Sherry. I thought, what happened?
Sorry, Maynard.
Well, and we're still got to finish up our candidate interviews too. I know we're meeting with Stan Cleveland next Friday. Out of all the people to be meeting with, that one's
Can
kind of
stand?
can Stan.
We are meeting with Stan, and then we'll be making some additional phone calls this week. I've dropped the ball on that because I've been so focused on getting the headquarters up and running. So now that that's done, I can move on to business.
God,
Paperwork.
a Friday night with Stan.
Well,
It's going to be a party.
we'll have to make it a party. We'll make it a party.
It'll be fine. He only gets an hour. It's not like it's a whole Friday night. And we'll get him first. We got him at 6, so maybe we can get somebody else in at 7 and make it a good end to the Friday.
I'm looking forward to it because I want to hear what every candidate has to say.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to hear from every
So-
candidate.
What is their motivation? What's making
Stan
these
needs a
guys,
check.
What's making them tick?
Well, our Friday nights are quickly pretty much booked out now. We have no more Friday nights, and many Saturdays are booked. But all the Friday nights are gone through the middle of October with candidate functions.
Wow.
So we have all of our candidates on the calendar now. Our premier local candidate fundraiser will be for Mark Boomgarden on September 7th. That's a Friday night. So that's the premier local candidate fundraiser because we did already have our state candidate fundraiser for the two state, Mark Moisier, and then Konstantinos Roditis.
Man, would be nice to get some Smith and Jones in there, huh?
We got Joe Smith.
Guys, I'm having a hard time with all these names.
Hey, but we do have our alcohol license signed now, so we can go get that
Yes,
processed.
we have all
so
the
I'll take that
paperwork
down tomorrow or
signed that we need.
Tuesday and get that all
Yahoo!
processed up.
Yes.
Hey.
So we'll be ready to go with that.
Can we have one for after the party?
Yep.
That will be the first one we will get, the first date we are going to get. So we're walking that in probably tomorrow to get those rolling. But yes, so that would be, I think, the first party coming up, the after party, which
After the party.
after the party. So after Blues, Brews, and Barbecue on the August 25th, Saturday, August 25th, it goes from 4 to 8 at the fairgrounds. After that, you're going to want to head over to the Yuba Sutter Republican headquarters for the after party.
Yes.
Don't want to miss that. We're
We
going to
will have some brews and
more
and
brews.
we put some blues on.
Let's bruise more booze.
Yes, keep the buzz going. Just walk over. Walk over from the. It's a short distance. You can do it.
Stumble over and call an Uber. It'll be good.
Yes, it'll be good. It'll be fun. A fun time will be had by all. Okay, so that's we've got the events we can talk about later on in the show because there's a bunch of them. And I don't know if we're even going to get through listing them all, but if not, we'll list them all on the Facebook. So, anything else to kind of put out there about our headquarters business?
Well, we're having Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans monthly meeting. Some idiot misfired last week by the name of Bill, and sent out a.
Yes, and we let Bill explain it to everyone who walked through the door. Oh, by the way, it's not tonight, it's next week.
What are you doing here?
So we had several people show up, sat and chatted with us for a little while, and it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely wasted. We got
No.
to visit.
Yeah.
We were there. We just weren't there for the meeting. So, yes, Thursday night, the 23rd, our fourth Thursday of the month
Yes.
meeting.
Fourth Thursday of the month. Got it.
You know, I liked the third Thursday. I was going to, that's why you keep getting confused. It was originally supposed to be third Thursday,
Oh.
and then room bookings had conflicts, and so I changed it to fourth. But now that we have the headquarters, we could change it, but that would just really,
No,
I don't want to confuse things.
No.
I don't feel so bad now.
Whoops.
I was
Yeah,
I was just confused.
it happens.
So I see we got on our itinerary candidates to mention.
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that, Tammy?
Well, because we have our lineup that is still in the works. We're not done yet, but our lineup so far of the candidates who are going to be on our so-called slate, because we are going to be doing a brochure listing all the candidates that we're going to be promoting, and that's getting started this week. We're working with our designer and printer this week. But so far, our list of candidates that we are supporting as the Yuba Sutter Political Spotlight, and also the Republican ones are also being endorsed by the Constitutional Republicans. We have, of course, Brandon Barnes. That's a no-brainer for Sutter County Sheriff.
Yes.
Captain America.
Yes, Liz likes to call him. Then we have for Yuba City Council, we have 2 so far. There are 3 open seats, so there may be a third coming on board, but so far we have 2. And we'll have to conduct some additional interviews to see if there'll be a third thrown in the mix. If we don't find one, then we'll be good with 2. But the 2 that we are supporting currently are Dave Shaw and Mark Boomgarden. Then we have for Sutter County Supervisor District 3, Mike Ziegenmeyer. Then we are also supporting a Yuba County District 5. He's District 5
Yes,
candidate.
yes.
John Missler, a write-in candidate. So this one, we're really throwing a lot of effort behind because we know it's an uphill battle, but we feel very confident and positive about that.
The guy lost by 14 votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
14 votes. It's just going to get people actually writing it in. But we've had so many comments about, you know, we get a second chance, right? We get a second chance. We were not happy with either of the candidates that we were left with. So it's going to be up to the people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The people really need to send a message, and it'll be a strong message if we can get him elected, because it's going to say, you know what, the time has come. We're done with the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
If we don't like what you got to offer, then we'll find somebody that we like that we'll put up and we'll get elected.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you don't do your job correctly, we can recall you, and we can make that happen too, because that's a write-in. So there's a lot to be said for this candidate, and I think it's the right guy. I think it's the right time, and I believe this can really happen.
I think so too. Yeah.
Just going to take hitting the pavement, and that's
Yep.
what we're going to do. We're going to go door to door. We're going to talk to every one of those people.
Well, and I mean, we're going to make calls. We're going to walk. We're going to do everything in our power to get this man elected, and we really need help from Yuba County.
Yeah.
I mean, this is your guy.
Yuba County, show up.
Yep.
It was kind of funny because I know that Monty Hecker is playing a big role in the John Missler write-in and all of that. So Monty and I were having a conversation, and I told him, well, we're doing everything we can. You know, we got the radio program, and we're going to have walkers. And he was like, walkers? What do you mean we're going to have walkers? We're not that old. I said, no, not those kind of walkers, not like canes and walkers. We're going to actually have people, you know,
Yeah.
Ding
Walking,
dong.
yes.
Ding dong.
Yeah.
Hello.
You know, I talked to John this week, John Missler this week, and his first target is Randy Fletcher signs. If you have a Randy Fletcher sign, expect a visit from John Missler. And I think that's a huge, huge feather in his cap to do that. Because, I mean, what more nerve does it take to approach somebody who already has your competitor's sign in his yard? Because let's face it, he's not going to be competing against Alton Wright. That's not where he's going to be competing. It's going to be against, Randy Fletcher, the incumbent. So, that takes a lot of nerve to do that, and I really applaud him for doing that. And he's getting some really good feedback from it. So that's awesome. I mean, how easy is it going to be for him to go approach somebody who doesn't already have a Randy Fletcher sign in the yard if he's approaching the Randy Fletcher signs first? That's huge to me because, I mean, you got to figure you've got a 50% chance, a better chance of approaching somebody without a sign. So my hat goes off to him. He's doing a great job so far, and he's really out there getting into it. So we're about to get in the real thick of it here real soon with that.
Yeah.
And I believe the guy is the most qualified, and but the bottom line for me is that he has a grasp on history and the Constitution, and he has a good grasp of what's going on in Yuba County.
Oh, yeah, and Sutter County.
Yeah, so he's not in the dark. And,
Well-
I mean, some of these candidates that we get are in la la land. That's my opinion, and I believe the man is well studied. So that's huge.
Yeah,
a
and I
huge
like
benefit.
that we can get the truth from his newspaper. For me locally, that's my main source of news because I know that it's going to be truthful. There's going to, it's going to be all about transparency, and I really appreciate having that resource in our community.
Yeah, big time. So John Missler,
Well,
he's the guy for you.
and you can't get any more American. I mean, America's built on underdogs, and here we go. We're in an underdog fight, and he's our guy. So I think it's going to be great. It's going to be fun either way.
I don't know if when we had him in here, I love to describe John Missler as he's like a cross between John Wayne and Clint Eastwood. I mean, he's just that kind. The guy is solid.
He is.
He's so solid.
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved that first clip that you did during the last campaign season with that good, bad, and the ugly theme.
I've got that. We may play
That
that today.
was awesome.
I'll dig that
But I
up.
also like your new one. You made a new one for
Yeah,
him. It
the
sounds
Revolution.
good.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's a good one too.
So.
Yep. Good deal.
I didn't really visualize him that way, Liz, but I'm glad that you did.
Well,
next time
he
I'll
needs a
bring
hat and 6 guns.
Yeah. Next time I'll bring him a poncho and a spittoon.
Big iron
Can't
plate.
you just
Yeah.
imagine John Missler with a 6-shooter?
Yeah. I'm a Clint Eastwood fan, boy.
That's a dying breed.
I've only been around Mark Boomgarden a little bit, talking about people that come to mind. But, Mark Boomgarden is going to be in the studio next weekend if he can swing it. He's going to try for next Sunday to be here at our opening. And he kind of reminds me of one of those guys that's like a superhero in disguise. You always expect to put his shirt open and tear out the door.
The big S on his
Exactly. That's just what I see him as. Just every time I see him, he's so laid back, so mild. But, he was the fire chief, so he's got some skills.
Yeah.
So
he's-
it's kind of
He's
interesting.
a natural leader, but he doesn't have to prove to you that he's a leader.
Exactly.
He's one of those.
So I just that's how I see him. You talking about John Mitchell that way. That's kind of how I see him. It kind of cracks me up every time I see him because he's kind of this meek, mild little guy. But he's been in some intense situations.
Yeah.
And had to make command decisions. And so I kind of get that. That's what I kind of get from him. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, for
it's
sure,
like the sleeper car.
Exactly.
for sure, he's comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Boomgarden is.
Yep. And just
And,
straightforward. I think he's a straight shooter. I think we'd be good to have him on the council.
Typically, I would not, for me, go with the former public employee.
I know.
Okay. I don't like the grease gun program.
Manny
for
Cardoza.
Manny. where you worked for the city, you know, and now you're there to grease the wheels for all the rest of the people that are riding that train. So, but Mark, he's been in the private sector for a while, and I believe truly, after communicating with him, that he's wanting to try and get things straightened out a little bit.
It's amazing in those one-on-one forums how we're getting to meet the candidates and actually talk to them and get a real feel for what they're coming across with. And you know, we don't pull any punches, and I think that really helps. Is the way we're doing it really is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that could be said for Mark Boomgarten is he's a family man. You know, he has been married to his wife, Karen. I've known Karen my whole life. I mean, just he's solid and professional.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think whenever you go to City Hall and speak at the City Council chambers, it's going to fall on deaf ears with him. I don't think he's going to be kicked back with his feet basically up and playing on his iPad, just thinking, when is your 3 minutes is up? You know, when is your 3 minutes up? Come on, get out of here.
And that goes on all over the country, you know.
Yep.
I'm really sick of that.
And then you have the hot mic situation when you're done speaking. And I can't say the word that was said on a hot mic because I only say that when I'm praying.
That was at the Sutter County Supervisors meeting. I had to listen to it a couple of times. You know, I listened to it over and over and over, and I thought, did he just...
Yeah. Disrespectful.
You would think, and I was talking to my friend Lou about that, and he said, well, was he calling upon Jesus? I said, no, I think he was taking the name's the Lord's name in vain.
Yes.
For sure. And I mean,
I
poor
think
Dan Flores.
Yeah.
Dan Flores has, he's in the position, he had to turn off Larry Munger's mic in 2016. And then he had to reach over and turn off Sullinger's mic on this past Tuesday.
After he took the Lord's name in vain. Because
Right.
he was just so exasperated at at having to listen to a citizen. Amazing.
Well, I think that's part of the problem when it comes to our language, okay? They have taken the words or the position of being a public servant, and they've labeled themselves officials. And if you go throughout the week, you hear it blasted in your ears over and over and over, no matter if it's down to the dog catcher, you know, he's an official. Right? So
Well-
I mean, the fireworks squads, you know, they're officials. Everybody's an official, right? Well, we're the officials.
That's right.
So I think that's, they take on this mindset and then they start believing, you know, that they are, you know, top dogs.
You know where
So
that
I'm really sick of it.
you know
They
where
need
that
to be-
term public servant came from? I don't know if I meant to mention this like weeks ago on the show when this topic came up because Tom is a big proponent of public servant, not public official.
Right.
And I was curious to know because Tom's very well adept at the Bible and all, you know, you pretty well know your stuff. So I was curious to know if you knew that public servant, that term, actually originated with Jesus. He established public servant as in civil government. And that is one of the things that we're going to be learning in my class that
All
starts
right.
on September 12th. And we're going,
Why don't you go ahead and do a promo for your class, and then I got a couple of promos that I got to play real quick.
Okay, so the class I'm referring to is called Watchman on the Wall, and it is basically educating Christians as to what their role is in civil government. And we're going to be doing kind of a book study on 3 books. We've got one called The Role of Pastors and Christians in Civil Government by David Barton. We have a book called Watchmen on the Walls. It's by Bruce Anderson, Mark Belisles, and Stephen McDowell. And then we're going to finish up with the The Threat of Islam to Liberty and Christianity, and it's by Stephen McDowell. So we're going to go through these books. The books have a lot of biblical references, of course, because they're giving examples of what your biblical duties are, and they are Jesus commanded. So you can't just obey some of his teachings and not all of his teachings. And Jesus did teach us to be active in our civil government, and we're going to look at those examples and study those. So that begins September 12th. It's up at the Church of Glad Tidings on Wednesday nights beginning at 7 o'clock, be from 7 to 8. I hear they are providing childcare for all their Wednesday night classes, so that would be an opportunity for you. If you have children, you can still come to the class, and there will be childcare available.
Now, I'm watching you thumb through those books, and I see, as you're opening them up, I see some yellow highlighting going on.
Highlights. Well, when I read a book, I do that.
I do that too. And so that tells me right there that you're not just talking about books that you haven't read.
No, I've read these. I've got notes in the margins.
Yes.
You know,
So
I study
that's
these books.
important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Because I also like to go back and reflect, because like when you said that, that term, public servant, it recalled to my mind, oh, I learned about that in these books. And so, yeah, I study them, and I like to go back and reference what I've studied.
now, Jesus, when he was on the earth, okay, he was in the, looks like Jason's getting ready to rock. I think we're talking too much. Maybe I'll talk about that later.
Okay, we can come right back. Let me play these two ads real quick.
Your next Sutter County Sheriff. I've worked with Captain Barnes for over 20 years. Brandon is a graduate of the prestigious FBI National Academy. He was our former SWAT commander and chief of investigations, and now holds one of the highest positions in law enforcement as jail commander. He leads and manages a staff of over 80 personnel and an inmate population of almost 400. Folks, your sheriff is the top law enforcement officer in the county. Experience and character are critical. That's why 13 active California county sheriffs, including myself, endorse him. I am beyond confident that Captain Barnes has the skills, the temperament, and the vision to lead Sutter County. I believe this is the most important vote on your ballot. I encourage you to vote Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff.
Paid for by Brandon Barnes for Sutter County Sheriff, 2018.
The senseless random killing of 32-year-old Kate Steinley by an illegal alien convict is chilling testimony to how Gavin Newsom's sanctuary city values differ from the rest of us. I'm John Cox, father of 4 daughters and Republican candidate for governor. Incredibly, San Francisco refused to turn over to immigration authorities a criminal alien with 7 prior felony convictions. Instead, they put him back on the streets, where he claims he just found a gun, fired at random, and killed a young woman walking with her dad. The shooter said it was an accident, so, of course, a San Francisco jury voted to acquit him. Like I said, different values. As governor, I promise you that on my first day in office, I will act to repeal Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom's sanctuary state and restore the rule of law. If you're ready to take California back, join me at johncoxforgovernor.com. I'm John Cox, Republican for governor.
Paid for by John Cox.
Oh, my uniform is so neat as I walk along the street, dressed so nicely from my bottom to the top. All the motorists in sight are incredibly polite, cause they know that I'm a big deal traffic cop. My buttons as nicely signed. And what have we here? Oh, parked in a loading zone. When a motor car I finds in a
All right, we're back.
I just
We'll leave that right there.
Their little tribute to Hauk.
Yep.
So, what I was saying before the commercial break was Jesus. Well, he was placed himself in the Roman Empire at the time, and they were occupying Jerusalem, right? And the Romans could, a Roman soldier could come up and say, "Hey, I need you to carry this for me," you know, and he could conscript you right on any time, any place, okay? And so Jesus said, when someone compels you to walk a mile, go with him twain. 2 miles. So he was preaching the servitude program, and that's it. He's a servant of the people. So
I love him.
these people you love Jesus.
I do.
Well,
Me
that's good.
too.
He loves you too, Liz.
Yeah.
I want to give also a plug to a local group called the Well Armed Woman. I went to the meeting yesterday. We have meetings was it the third Saturday? Yeah, third Saturday of the month, and they're at noon, and they're at the indoor range of the Twin Cities Rod and Gun Club, and then so the first hour is the meeting with the speaker typically, and the second hour is we go out to the outdoor range. So yesterday, our guest speaker was Lieutenant Chad Neiswanger, and he is from the Sutter County Sheriff's Department, and I believe he's the gentleman who issues your CCWs right now. And he was very informative. Most of the ladies there did not already have CCWs. They all were wanting to know how, what the process was like, if it was going to be right for them. So the Well Armed Woman is an awesome organization because it gives women an environment to be comfortable around other women who, you don't have to feel intimidated being around a lot of guys who just, know everything there is to know about the firearms. And there's just no intimidation. There's no having to, no offense to my husband, but other women's husbands having to tell you what gun you need to have and you should have this one, not that one. It's just, and that fact, that was one of the topics they talked about, was not to go with somebody else's recommendation. Don't go with what your friend says works for them. Go and try all the different ones to see which one's going to work for you, because everybody is a little different. And I had to switch mine up. I started with a Ruger LC9 and figured out that that trigger pull was way too long and hard, and my hands would be fatigued after just doing some test firing. So I switched up my system. So now I generally run a Glock is what I go with. And so anyway, Chad was awesome, Lieutenant Chad, and he really did fill us in on what the training was involved and what to do. And Dee Adams, who is the head of that organization, the Well Armed Woman, she started the local chapter here. She is now a licensed firearms trainer and CCW trainer. So she now offers those CCW classes, so you can get certified or recertified. And she handed us all these constitutions with her contact information on it, which was awesome. I already have these, but I never turn them down because I can hand them to other people. And they're,
I think it's
They're
best also to get for a woman to get firearms training from someone other than her husband.
Yeah.
Save a lot of
Frustration.
yes, yes.
Dee is awesome. I've gotten to know her very well. How we met was several years ago. Well, a couple of years ago. She was very instrumental in Matt Conant's supervisor race. And she's a certified range master. She is awesome. I told her that when I went to requalify for my CCW, I said it's very... the word that to me, it was very, very difficult to stand out on the line with 8 other people, and they were all men, and they're shooting freaking cannons, right? And I mean, it was just the noise alone. And I told Dee, I said, it was hard for me. That bothered me. So she was like, you know what? We can do this and we can do that. And I was like, okay. So she's awesome.
Well, I have to tell you too. So Jason was my main trainer with regard to, he's the one who kind of showed me the ropes and everything and took me to practice and everything. So he worked with me with my grip and my stance and all that. And I got pretty good. Well, I went to a class one time at Shooter's Paradise. I paid $200 to go to this weekend class, and by golly, I got worse. The guy who was, I'm sure he might have been very helpful to other people, but not for me. I got worse, and I had to have Jason retrain me, and there I got back again. I'm like, oh, okay, well now I'm doing fine. So I don't know what the deal is with that, but I say that to say this. a gal there who is another kind of leader in this organization. Her name's Katie, and I don't know her last name, but her name's Katie, and she's also like a range master type person. She helped me with my grip. A couple times ago, we were out on the range, and I hadn't shot in a while, and I was one of those things where you're kind of off to the left and low, and she adjusted my grip, solved it. And I've never had anybody else be able to help me like that except for my husband. Nobody else can help me, and she did. It was awesome.
Great.
Way to go, Katie.
Yes, thank
So,
you, Katie.
Having said all that, and that's all well and good, and good training is important, but the CCW thing is totally unconstitutional. That's the bottom line.
Shouldn't need a permit.
Yeah. We don't need permission to exercise our God-given inalienable rights.
One
So-
of the
And it's
the Ninth
expensive.
Circuit in Hawaii on a Ninth Circuit case ruled in favor of open carry.
Yeah.
Believe that or
Well,
not.
good. I mean, it's so clear and plain in our Constitution, but no, they have
I know.
stripped us.
Shall not be infringed
yeah.
is pretty difficult
Yeah.
to understand.
They've stripped down our rights and sold it back to us for a price, and that's the facts. And I don't care who don't like it, but that's the way it is.
If your weapon doesn't have ammunition, you can't bear an arm. You'd have to throw it at them.
That's right.
Well, one of the things that Lieutenant Chad Niswonger said yesterday was that Sutter County is extremely lenient as far as their rules for obtaining the CCW. For one, it claims self-protection, plain and simple, nothing further needed. Two is a lot of other counties will require you to get qualified on every single weapon that you have listed on your CCW. For Sutter County, if you're carrying a 9, you get it's the action. So you qualify on a semi-auto or a revolver, and you're approved on all of those different calibers of the same action
cool.
type gun. So once you qualify on any semi-auto, you can carry any semi-auto.
For a charge.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Just a bit.
California's got to get their taxes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that CCW is $60, I think, in Sutter County.
Well, we have a lot of illegal mouths to feed, so.
So, hey, they're very lenient on our God-given rights that they're
Yes.
selling back to us.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That's nice of them.
So we can, we're playing the game, right? To a point, we're playing the game, huh? That's the way it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Until we can no longer comply because it's completely unreasonable.
Yeah. Just like the founding fathers, right? And they laid out their discourse, and one of them was eating out our substance.
Their grievances.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to
So-
give a shout out to Carol Bryant up in Nevada County. CJ sings. CJ Bryant. She's taken upon herself, and thank God for patriots and constitutional people to create or engage some conservative Republicans up there in Nevada County to start a chapter of the CIR up there, California Impact Republicans. And with that, we'll be able to, once that's established, we'll be able to go to the California Republican Convention and get a full charter. We'd like to see Steve Frank in Jim Brulti's place for that.
Roger that. Yeah. So
Thank you, Carol.
it's called playing the game there too, huh?
Yeah, you know what she was telling me? She was saying up there the because all the hippies and yuppies moved in up there. You can't call them homeless people anymore. They're houseless people because homeless is personal.
Oh wow.
Well, it's like Section 8 is derogatory.
Yeah.
Can't say that. It's wage income adjusted.
Yeah. Well, I got news for him. I'm going to say whatever I feel like saying. Whenever I feel like saying it.
When you're up in Nevada County, make sure to call them
I'm
homeless.
in Nevada County all the time. So, yeah.
Wow.
What's next?
Oh, Jason's jabs looks like.
No, grand jury report.
Oh, grand jury report. What grand jury report?
Exactly.
Jason's jabs. What the heck is that about?
Well, we'll get
Because
on to it.
as
We'll
I
get
made
there.
little names for all your little tidbits.
Oh boy.
When I go and ask people what they want to put on the agenda.
Yes.
So I had Tom's tidbits because
Yes.
Tom always has something to add. So he's Tom's tidbits. And then now I've got Bill's beefs. Bill's beefs. And then now we have Liz's laments
Those laments. Yeah.
and Jason's jabs.
Well, we don't. What do we have for Tammy?
Tammy's tuxedos.
Tammy's terrific ideas.
Oh
Well,
boy.
Yeah. So if you write the itinerary, you get to put down what you want. And that's freedom of the press right there.
Yeah.
Exercising her First Amendment
Yes.
rights.
So the grand jury report, which is still, we're waiting for it.
Yep.
But at the supervisors meeting in Sutter County this past Tuesday, there was a group, the Sutter County Grand Jury Association appeared. There were 3 really great speakers. They got up. There were 9 jury members present. The Sacramento Bee was there to interview them after the meeting. But basically, the grand jury, Supervisor Whitaker, which I don't know what really his point was in saying it. He said that he'd like to read the report, right? Well, he read the report. They all have. There's special people in Sutter County that have read that report. And it's the public that needs to see their report.
Yes.
Yes. It belongs to the people.
Right.
Right.
So now we're just trying, there's so many different people that are trying to get an angle on what legally can be done to get this report. So we know that it was public because
They signed it.
and certain people in the public have it, right? So is that a discrimination that depending on who you are, that you have the copy of the report? I mean, I want a copy of that report. I want to see what's in it.
Me too. I want to read it on the air. No, take too long.
Take too long.
But,
166 pages.
Yes, but I mean the people have a right to know, and I want to see it unredacted to the people. There you go.
I mean, this is unprecedented.
Right.
This has not happened.
Maybe not in this county, but I think it's business as usual all over the country, with the public servants elevating themselves to the position of
Oh, yeah, but
So
still,
I mean,
people in those counties need to step up. People in this county, in Sutter County, are stepping up, and we'll get to it. It will come out, and people will have smush all over their faces.
Yep. So to continue that saga and to hear the latest and greatest, you'll want to come to the meeting on Thursday night for the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans being held at the Republican headquarters at 441 Bridge Street. It's at 6:30, and come and hear all the latest news there is. What we've been working on, seeing our progress, but. It's a continuing discussion. If this is new to you, you really want to come and get the whole itinerary of it. And the minutes that I did from last time's meeting has kind of a good briefing of what's transpired to date. And so if you would like that, let me know and I'll forward it to you. And that'll bring you up to speed and then come to the meeting and be involved in the conversation going forward. But everybody needs to be aware of this and everybody needs to be talking about it. And
Complaining.
yeah.
Hey, and if you're a walk away or if you're a declined to state and you wish to register Republican, we'd be more than happy to serve you with registration papers and have you register as Republican. And the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans, there is no fee until next year, and then next year it's a $10 charge for 2 years. So, it's a very economical organization to join, and you will be in the mix of things.
So,
You know,
I want to be on record, too, for myself that I'm a constitutional Republican, and I despise dirtbag Republicans.
well, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Establishment
Yeah,
Republicans.
I call them dirtbag Republicans.
Yeah.
I despise them more than I do Democrats. I'm not saying I despise all Democrats,
I love everybody.
but and I don't, but I really despise those that are pretending to be
Yeah.
constitutional Republicans that are dirty, dirty, dirty. So, if that's you, you're despised.
That's right. So Liz was talking about the meeting on Tuesday. There was a meeting on Monday, and I couldn't find it anywhere on the Yuba Sutter or Yuba County calendar.
Sutter
And
County.
Sutter County. I'm sorry, Sutter County calendar. It was a special meeting, and all the Board of Supervisors was there. So someone sent me a clip. I believe it was Liz. Sent me a clip out of the paper that it was happening at 1160 on Civic Center Boulevard, which is where their offices are, the Board of Supervisors' offices. But when I got there, a nice young lady told me, oh, no, it's on the calendar, but they're meeting over by the museum at Edel Hall. So I raced over there, and it was at 10 o'clock, and got over there. And sure enough, I talked to Chuck Smith, who is the public information officer there. And it's on the calendar. So I opened my phone and showed him it wasn't. Oh, yeah, that was a mistake. Well, that was a Brown Act violation in my
I
opinion.
think they ought to dock his pay.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Well, there's a group of people that we try to keep track of all of those agendas and special meetings and this and that, because last year, coming up on a year ago, they had a health and welfare meeting, a committee meeting, and at that time they were trying to shove in a 61.7% pay raise for the supervisors. So, yeah, we got that taken care of, but ever since then we are very cognizant to look at these committee meetings and see what they're trying to. How can we fool them today, right?
Sure.
Smoke and mirrors. So on Sunday night, there was no meeting listed. There was no meeting. On Monday morning, I opened the paper, and it said in the government meeting section that there was a special meeting / study session. Okay? So I called, and where it was. I sent Bill where it was. It was supposed to be at Civic Center Boulevard. So I called the county administrator, and I said to him, hey, what is this? And he says, you know what, Liz? It's just a big conspiracy.
So he's mocking you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The public servants are mocking the masters.
Right. Right. So he told me there's no action items. This is just the plan. Their goal setting meeting. This, that, and the other. And I said to him, Scott, Mr. Mitnick, I thought that this meeting was typically in the spring, prior to the budget being adopted. And he said, well, that is normally when they do their goal setting and that type of thing. But we just had scheduling conflicts. So I said to him, okay, all right, well, he said, come on down. It's a public meeting. I said, okay, well, I'm going to see what I can do. So I hung up the phone with Mr. Mitnick and called county council and got Bill Vanasak, who was very, very kind. And I asked him, what are the rules for posting a public meeting or an emergency meeting or, any of these meetings? So he said, well, it's the usual Brown Act. We follow the Brown Act. So in this case, it was a special meeting, and they needed to post it 24 hours in advance. But that didn't happen. That was not what happened. And if it was so public, why was it a room full of empty chairs and staff?
So can they be fined?
I don't know.
I mean, can they pay some money out to the people?
They're getting fined right now.
It'd just
Find
be
it
our
out.
money. They'd pay the fine with our money.
Oh, yeah. That's right. What a deal.
But to say that it's a public meeting, you post it in the paper of a location, you go to the location, and it's not at the location.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they had a real nice taco bar lunch.
And I snagged a couple of them too.
Well,
Well, they were street tacos. They
You-
were small. I felt bad, taking some of my own money back.
so you filmed the
I
contents,
did.
right?
I've got it ready to upload, and it was interesting. There was people with their hands out already. We need more. We need more. Fires. Everything's falling apart, and newest engine's 28
Wow.
years old, and a fire engine's $1 million nowadays.
You know something? When I was on the road this weekend,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of real nice fire trucks, boy. Okay? And I mean, the one of them says battalion chief on
Yeah.
it, it's a F-250, it's fully loaded, it looks good.
Yeah.
I thought, I didn't see them broke down on the side of the road.
Didn't see anybody. You didn't see any tweakers driving
No,
off with them,
oh,
did
no,
you?
no. So one after the other, I thought they were doing all right.
All right.
The thing that struck me, Bill, is when you shared with me what they handed out at that meeting about all their goals and what they have
Yeah.
met so far. The way they used the term complete and
Yeah.
in progress. How does that work?
Well, Mr. Mitnick, he can count the ones that are complete, partially complete, as completed, but he can't count the ones that are still still not complete as not completed. So when he counted the complete, they came out to 6 out of 10. So there's your $325,000 a year with a D average. Matter of fact, Whitaker pointed that out. Says if you were in school, you get a D. I had to agree with him. 6 out of 10, 9 out of 10 were still incomplete.
And
in progress. I
that
guess.
$325,000, right?
Yeah.
That he doesn't pay 1 cent towards his own retirement. Not a single cent.
Thank you, Sutter County.
Wow.
Who are we talking about?
Mitnick.
Oh, okay.
And there's several of them.
Yeah. Well,
There's several of them.
That's the gravy train program. We're well aware of that. It's going on.
So
all
when
over the
that
place.
contract goes to be renewed, that's something that can be negotiated out of that contract?
Absolutely.
Well, then, we need to be talking about that. For sure.
Yep.
That's ridiculous.
For all of them.
Yeah, because that topic of this unfunded pension liability, are you kidding me that you're not talking about this?
It just adds to it.
Check it out. This is the way I see it, and correct me if I'm wrong. This year we get 2 supervisors that are up for re-election, and 1 ran unopposed. So we have 1 supervisor that's up for re-election, correct? And that's
Yeah.
District 3, and that's going to be an open seat, and that'll be between Paul Bossy and then Mike Ziegemeyer, who's going to get it. So we got Mike Ziegemeyer in there. Next year we get to vote for 3. If these guys don't pay attention over the next 2 years to what's going on and take the people's concerns literally and start rewriting some of this stuff, they're going to take this seriously. Okay, I'm running over, but we'll be right back.
Check out the Territorial Dispatch. The paper is a weekly and can be obtained free at distribution or by mail through subscription. It's the only locally owned and operated newspaper in the region. The paper is the rest of the story. And also check out the E-Territorial. It's an online version of the Territorial Dispatch which features local news and events for the Yuba Sutter, Colusa, and Nevada County areas. You'll also find daily and breaking news updates, current traffic, and weather information, along with a calendar of local events. Visit the E-Territorial at eterritorial.com.
Well, that does it. That's time for Tom's Tidbits.
Oh, wow. Hey, that song right there tells the story, don't it? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
From the office of the president, right down to me and you. That's what I think is really going on. Mm-hmm.
We agree.
Dirty, it's dirty, dirty, dirty. So when I hear this talk that we've been talking about with the all these people that you're mentioning, they're all paid way too much and doing way too less.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And I was out and about to talk with some school people working in the school district. Same programs going on there. So it's just rampant through all government. It is the best cash cow going. That's my opinion after being in politics for the last few years.
When they asked Willie Sutton, why do you rob banks? That's where the money is.
Why do you run for political office? Well, that's where the money is.
Yes. So, hey, I wanted to bring attention to this California Highway Patrol officer up in Amador County. And he was in the news this week. I imagine some people might have saw that. So, I'll just read this little bit. It says, a California Highway Patrol officer in Amador County was arrested Monday afternoon on suspicion of raping a 12-year-old girl. The Amador County Sheriff's Office said Michael Joslin, 35, is suspected of molesting the child for about a year, Under Sheriff Gary Redmond said in a news release. A church pastor called officers Sunday afternoon and told them that the girl's mother told the pastor that the girl had been molested, Redmond said. Joslin was located Monday in Placer County and arrested on suspicion of oral copulation with a minor under 14, lewd acts with a child under 14, continuous sexual abuse of a child, penetration with a foreign object, and rape, Redmond said. CHP spokesman Craig Harmon confirmed that Joslin was a CHP officer at the time of his arrest, but no longer works for us. He could not provide further details. CHP's Amador Area Commander, Lieutenant Todd Brown, said the alleged molestation occurred while Joslin was off duty. Like that makes a difference.
That makes me feel so much
Yeah.
better.
So, I mean, then it says here, the CHP continues to fully cooperate with the investigating agency, and we are conducting our own investigation into the allegations, Brown said in a news release. I also want to assure the public that we take any allegation of misconduct by our employees, whether on or off duty, very seriously. So this is a little excerpt from the Sacramento Bee. But the reason I bring this up is because I think the moral decay is happening. And actually what our radio program has a lot to do with is the decay, okay, and the unaccountability in government, okay. So this is not an isolated incident. You know what I mean? I believe it's rampant throughout all our society and around the world. And I just recalled listening to a video that I watched not too long ago from a police officer in Great Britain. And he said the same thing. He was investigating these kind of things, and he found it went up the chain of command in his operation. So the whistleblowers. So I'm going to bring back to remembrance, we had some Yuba City PD who were caught dealing drugs. We had a Yuba County Net 5 officer who was stealing the dope from the people here and selling it over in Pennsylvania, I think. And on and on and on and on it goes. So these guys are supposed to be people that have an example to set. And I would think would want to be above reproach. So
I'll give you an example. My first wife's mother, her second husband, she married a highway patrolman after her first husband died. He burned down the barn. He stole horses. He lit his weapon off in his patrol car. Took us 5 years to get him booted. Finally, he moved either Wyoming, Montana, somewhere, and they throttled him for horse theft back there.
but they didn't hang him like they
They
should
didn't
have.
hang him. They should have. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to this scripture in the Bible, which I've heard many, many times. And it's in the book of Proverbs 29:2. It says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." And that's where we are today. We got the wicked bearing rule, and the people are mourning. So I just thought I'd throw that in there in the little tidbit section today.
Excellent.
So also I want to touch on our Fourth Amendment rights. Okay? And I'm going to borrow your Constitution here, if you don't mind, and see. I heard on the radio this week that the Yuba City were advertising that they're going to do a DUI checkpoint somewhere in town. I don't know. Do you heard that on the radio? This?
It was in the Appeal Democrat
Yeah.
earlier
Okay.
this week.
So legally, they got to post where they're going to do it. Now, me, I don't drink at all. I'm not worried about going through any DUI checkpoint for alcohol reasons, but I don't want my civil rights violated. Okay, and what I mean by that is, I don't want to be detained, and I don't want to be have an officer snooping in my car and looking around, because he has no right to do that. So I think these are totally unconstitutional, and I think they're a point of conditioning for the people, to get the people conditioned to go through checkpoints. So if you're listening in Yuba City, you can take your checkpoints and put it where the sun don't shine. So I'm going to read the Fourth Amendment. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects. Okay, and you might put in their vehicles. Against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. I like that word "shall." They use it in court all the time. Okay, so that means absolutely. It's an absolute word. And no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the person or things to be seized. Okay? They cannot do the witch hunt program. Okay, this is what's going on with the president right now. They're on a witch hunt. So looking, well, I'm sure we can find something. And I'm pretty sure that anybody, anywhere, they can find something on you. So I just wanted to bring up that Fourth Amendment right, and the people need to be aware of it. And a lot of times, I mean, I don't get pulled over very often. My wife says I drive way too slow. Okay, but we do not have to consent to search of our vehicle, our person. Okay. Because we have that God-given right that's addressed here in our Fourth Amendment, and but the police operate under what's called color of law and intimidation. And they try to intimidate and try to coerce you into thinking that they have the right to search you. Because, and that's what I'm talking about with color of law. So this came from our Fourth Amendment. You know, John Adams was one of the founding fathers, and he was very instrumental in writing the Fourth Amendment. And he also wrote the 14th Amendment in the state of Massachusetts Constitution, dealing with search and seizures. And he was he's given basically the greatest part of putting together the Fourth Amendment. And the Fourth Amendment was part of the Constitution. It was added to the Constitution because the people were concerned over these general warrants. Now, that might not be a term that you're familiar with, but they had general warrants, and they also called them writs of, let's see, I can't remember right off the top of my head. But,
Writs of execution?
writs of assistance.
Writs of assistance,
Okay.
yeah.
So the British, the king could write a writ of assistance or a general warrant, and that warrant was valid for the life of the king.
Well.
And even 6 months after he died. Yes.
Just in case.
Yes.
Just in case you thought you were safe.
So this is what was going on, back in the day when the America was being born. And so the British government would be searching people's houses, their businesses, their property, their ships, anything, anytime. And so we have that come full circle now today, where they're illegally accessing our emails, our text messages, and everything else under the sun, because they can do it. They're in bed with the companies that have provided this kind of thing for us. So anyway, I don't want to go on too much further about it, but our Fourth Amendment is critical, and we need to keep that to the forefront in our daily lives, that we have the right to privacy.
Yeah.
Okay? I have the right to say something to you, Liz, or to you, Bill, and nobody else. If it's private between the two of us, nobody should be digging into that,
Right.
or should be able to spy on that. So it's a basic human right, to maintain some privacy. So anyway, that's just a little touch on the Fourth Amendment I wanted to talk about.
Okay, I want to back up to Jason's jabs because I got juked out of Jason's jabs.
Oh, you got.
Are you a victim now?
Yes, I am. I'll be real quick. I just want to say one thing. This week I got into a little bit of a, I wouldn't say altercation, but a talking match with somebody about Dr. Ball Dillon. Is it Ball or Ball?
It's
Bow.
Ball. Okay. Dr. Ball Dillon.
Alginda.
And this is the issue that I have that I want to say really quick is, she gets a lot of slander because of she already has the seat, she's been in the seat, and she's been doing the job. She's been doing a pretty good job, but I want to just throw this out there real quick because everybody's going, oh, Tom Rooster. The problem I have with Tom Rooster is the man sat less than 5 feet away from me and lied to my face. And you all were there. All four of you in this studio were there when he did it. And I think it needs to be said, and I think it needs to be said out loud, that the guy flat ass lied to us. We asked a point blank question, and he could have said, Jim Whittaker is my friend. Instead, he denounced Jim Whittaker, and then he turned right around and said he is not working on my campaign. We asked him again, and he said Jim Whittaker is not working on my campaign. Well, guess who I ran into the night that we were out setting up signs? Jim Whittaker placing his signs.
I would say he's working on his campaign.
Exactly. And why lie to us? If anybody asked me if I had anything faults with you guys in this room, you know what? I got faults with everybody, and everybody has faults. But I'm not going to deny that you're my friend, and if I'm helping you or not. It's a plain and simple deal. Yeah, he's my friend. Yes, he made a mistake. Jim Whittaker made a mistake, but he's my friend. Instead, he chose to lie to us on something that simple that it could have been that easy to get along with. Instead, he sat there and lied to our face over something that simple. What else will he lie to us about? And yes, I'm calling the guy a liar. He lied to us.
Yeah.
And here's the deal with that, is everybody wants to run around and say what a bad deal Val is for the school and everything else. Well, guess what, folks? She hasn't lied to me yet. She's educated me on quite a bit of stuff about what's going on with her, what her jurisdiction is over the school, and educated us on if we needed to do something or wanted some of the educational curriculum changed. She sent us in the right direction on how to change it. She didn't sit there and lie to me and say, oh, yeah, I'll get it changed. She said, that's out of my realm. I can't do that, but this is how you go about doing it. I'm really looking forward to talking to her again, but at this point right now, in my book, you could not force me to vote for Tom Rooser. Sorry. If somebody will lie to you over who their friend is, they will lie to you about a lot more. So I just wanted to throw that out there for Jason's jabs of the day. And just jabbed Tom Rooser with a little sharp stick there, because I'm tired of everybody coming around going, what a bad deal Val is, and how she has just bought this or bought that and done this and done that, and and
it's
now,
unvalidated hearsay.
Exactly. And now the big thing is that she turned down a grant for a robotics program. I haven't heard that from her, but I've heard that in hearsay. The problem that I have with that is they don't want to tell you what was in the grant. And we know there is no such thing as free money. There's always strings attached with grants. So maybe they ought to start with going to the root of the problem, if that's the problem, and asking her why she turned it down, rather than listening to hearsay about, well, she just turned down this grant and spreading that rumor all over town.
Yeah.
Go to the source, folks.
And how about if she turned it down,
Well,
and then
let's find
secondly,
out.
why?
Exactly. So go to the source, folks, first and foremost. And I can promise you that Tom Rooser flat lied to this group, and that's my jab of the day right there, is you lied to us, we caught you, shame on you. And you won't get a second chance, at least with me. Other people you might, but me, you're done. You lie to me once, you look me in the eye and lie to me once, and then lie to me again in 5 minutes. Come on, dude. Really? Get a brain. So I'm done. That's my jab.
That is your prerogative.
So
There you go.
Yes.
So we're going to have forums. We'll be, there's going to be public, where the public can ask Dr. Dillon these questions. Personally, I think that Dr. Dillon is the best qualified for the job. She's been very forthright. She has been honest and transparent in everything that we've asked her. Every single thing. The other guy,
well, my favorite was Joe Hendricks. I'm not going to lie. I like Joe. I really did like Joe, and I would vote for Joe today if I had the chance. But unfortunately, he's not running a write-in campaign, so I can't even do that.
Right.
But the fact is now we got to get behind somebody. And,
Or not.
well, we don't have, that's true, we don't have to, but somebody's going to get the position. Somebody, whether we like it or not, somebody's going to get that position, and I would much rather have my say on the person that I feel isn't going to lie to my face every time I run into him.
Yeah, I'd just like more answers out of Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think when we have our list of endorsements, we don't have either one on there yet.
No, we don't have
Nope.
either one
Yeah.
on yet because it's not settled.
Yes,
But yeah, it's
I
there's
think
just some questions.
after talking to some people too, that the school district is a lot like the city, okay, where a lot of the staff is running the program, and the figureheads up there, whether they're in the dark or not in the dark, they should not be in the dark. I'll guarantee you that. They should be doing their job, okay? But they allow the people that are department heads to run the show. And I think a little bit of that's going on. Okay, but from what I understand and want to get to the bottom of is the career technical education and the regional occupation program. I believe that's important to the people, and for people to have jobs and for the train to keep moving. So we want to get into finding out a little bit more about that. So that's why we haven't settled yet. I mean, I haven't settled. Yeah. So I had her sign up at my house, and then I took it down. So because I'm not settled yet, and that's where I am at.
I have her sign in my yard.
But I don't have Russell's sign on my fence. Yeah, because like Jason said, I was sitting right there. Yeah. I think he was,
He had an opportunity to just be straight with us and say, well, we're friends. Of course he's going to be helping here and there because we're friends. Yeah. But he didn't say that. He said, no, he's not involved in my campaign. He will not be involved in my campaign. He won't be helping with my campaign, because we asked him like 2 or 3 times. And then we also asked him, will you be offering him a position? And he never did say no. He just said there is no position for me to give him. He wouldn't come out and say, no, I wouldn't give him a position.
Actually, what he said was that he didn't have a position that he could offer Jim Whitaker at the county level. So then the question was asked, but would you hire him? And he said, probably not. And then it's a yes or no question. And he said no.
Okay.
He did.
Yeah.
He said no. But everything else he said is completely not valid. Not for me. Because when he could have, he's without integrity. No honor. You don't lie to a group of people.
Yeah. He joins that big, vast pool of people without integrity that are public servants.
Is a pool like a swamp?
Yeah, the swamp, I mean. Thank you, Bill.
It's not like a pool. My pool has no swamp water in it. Yeah. But it's not like a pool.
Yes.
It's the gutter.
We haven't tested that water yet.
I do.
We have.
So, yeah, he's in the swamp. He's swimming around in the swamp. Sad to say, but that's the truth.
What's really super sad is he has a lot of people that are supporting him that do have integrity.
And you know what? In the swamp, because the swamp is so full, there's a lot of them that are drowning the other ones. You know what I mean? For a few dollars more.
Standing on top.
You like that one? That's a Clint Eastwood movie there. Yeah.
All right, we're running behind now. So, because I took too long on my jabs, and I didn't.
We're 2 hours behind now.
So what's up next?
You're on cue.
So,
what do you mean?
Well, you got to look at your schedule.
Yeah, I think we had some Liz laments.
Yeah, Liz laments.
And I think
we passed over. We skipped over her too.
I'm just in a total state of lamentation. Just
yes,
constantly.
There's a book in the Bible called Lamentations.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I just,
Is it like anything like laminations?
Not lamination. No, this is full-blown wailing. Actually, in the day, they would hire lamenters.
Yes.
Women they would hire to cry at a funeral.
Hush.
And really get down to the program of lamenting. Yeah. We're soliciting any lamenters out there because we need some lamenters.
We need more victims.
Yes, to go and lament.
So,
you got your thing queued up?
What thing?
Your nasty biscuit.
Yes, I do, but I thought, okay, I'll
kick it off.
Because that's supposed to lead us into our next topic.
Okie dokie, well, here it comes then.
So the other day, I stopped to get gas at a convenience store. It was early, I was hungry, so I went inside and I grabbed a breakfast sandwich with sausage, egg, and cheese. I paid for it, got back in the truck, and I wasn't expecting a gourmet breakfast or anything like that. It was a biscuit from a gas station that had probably been through hell before it ever got to my hands. But I took a bite of it because I was hungry. You know what it tasted like? It tasted like a biscuit from a gas station that had been through hell. What do you think it tasted like? Like somebody wrapped squirrel meat in bread and tried to hide the taste of the tire that ran over it with processed government cheese. It was nasty. It was ice cold in the middle. It smelled like my brother's feet. It was gross. But I was hungry, so I tried to force down another bite. I just couldn't do it. I offered it to my dog Willie in the back seat. He just looked at me like I just offered him salmonella. And I know he's not picky. I've seen him eat his own turds out of the yard. This biscuit was not fit for consumption, so I put it back in the bag and I tossed it in the trash. And then I did something amazing. I moved on with my life. I didn't call the crappy biscuit maker and complain. I didn't send an email. I didn't vow to never buy gas at that station again. I did not go back in the store and call the guy behind the counter a racist Nazi. I didn't set the biscuit on the dashboard so I could look at it every day and get pissed off. I threw it away. It offended me. I didn't want to consume it. I didn't have to consume it. Nobody held a gun to my head and said, eat it or else. I learned that gas station biscuits are not for me, and I moved on. I won't make that mistake again for at least another month and a half. I don't know. It makes sense. Then why is it that when you hear or see someone expressing their opinion online or in a public forum that you just can't rest until you blast that person for being so offensive and wrong? Oh, he said that. Well, I'll just send him a private message full of F-U's, up-yours, kiss-my's, and go-to-hells. That will set them straight. Look, get a life. You don't have to consume that which you find disagreeable. That's the mindset that's destroying free speech in this country. You aren't the speech police. You are free to disagree, but for God's sake, move on with your self-proclaimed all-powerful point of view. If you feel the need to respond, then do so, but don't let it take over your life. Simply turn up your nose and walk away. If their logic is wrong, it will eventually defeat them. So relax. Use discourse, debate, discussion, and just don't eat the
nasty biscuit. What's the last one?
Yep, just don't eat that nasty biscuit. Try and feed it to your dog, but don't eat it.
Dog, don't eat it. Throw it away.
And a very valid point that he made, it will self-destruct.
Yep.
Right? And that's where we're on. We're on the course of self-destruction right now.
Yes.
Well, and it's like my Tom Rooster bit just now. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
I won't mention it again this week. I'm done.
Hey,
it's okay.
Did you know we're listening? We're listening to the Patriot, 1410 AM and 104.3 FM.
I think the people are listening.
We're talking on it.
We're kind of on it.
There you go. So that leads into something that Pastor Dave talked about last night, and that was Matthew 24:10, and talking about the end days. But it was prophetic. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And if you look out in Antifa and all these garbage, I've been calling them garbage people. I mean, that's just, they hate each other. They're offended by everything.
Yeah.
I said, if you're offended, that's on you. You don't, not the person that said something. You got offended all by yourself.
Right. He was talking about how, when somebody offends you, you automatically assume that person who offended you is to blame. You
Right.
blame the person who offended you. When really, it's your choice.
Yeah.
You don't have to be offended.
No.
You can simply move on.
Right.
You either ignore it, forgive it, or whatever, but you move on. You don't have to just wallow in it.
Yes.
And so it was so relevant and timely for us. And to me, I was envisioning this whole, because it's really hard to bring together people who are literally 90% on the same page
Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, we all have the same goals in mind, pretty much the same set of standards and values, and we want the similar things in candidates and in positions, and yet we can't all get along.
Yeah.
What is up with that? And that's what was driving me nuts. I was listening to that message last night, and that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Can't we all just get along?
Can't we do a Rodney King here?
Hey, Jason uses this line a lot, and he says, what, you'll either get over it or you're going to stay mad a long time. Right?
Exactly. But, my dad used to say that, is they'll either get over it or they're going to be mad an awful long time. Yeah. There's only two ways about it.
Well, and then Pastor Dave gave an example of a man he hadn't seen for 25 years and found out that the man had been mad at him for something that didn't, was...
Because he went over and put his hand on his shoulder.
Yeah, for a really weird reason.
Doing, yeah.
And Jason leans over and whispers to Bill, he was mad a long time.
Hey, I've experienced that too. You know that?
You know, but I don't have time for that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. If somebody's mad at me, I don't care. I mean, it's really rude to say and it's really bad to say, but the fact is if somebody's upset, I don't have time for that. Be upset or get over it. And if you come and talk to me about it, more than likely I'm going to apologize and tell you, you know what, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. It's not the first time. I guarantee it's not going to be the last.
And he'll try and do it daily.
But either we can get past it and get over it, or you can't. I'm not going to waste my time on it. Just plain and simple. That's all there is to it. Sorry.
Right.
And Russer, we called him out. Okay, we told it like it was, but we're not going to let it eat us up either. You
No,
know? And we don't hate him.
No.
You know? But we just called it like it was. So.
And that's the whole thing is, you know, my dad used to often say that, you know, most of the time telling the truth gets confused with being an ass. And it does. I mean, it does. It's one of those things. But so be it. Whatever.
Because the truth
Moving
has
on.
to hurt sometimes.
It does.
Yep. So anyway, that was just that whole message last night, which I would encourage
Timely.
everybody to log on to Glad Tidings website because they upload all their sermons and take a listen to what Pastor Dave had to say last night. It was about forgiveness. It was about moving on. It was about, not wallowing in this, you're so offended. I mean, get over it, people.
Yes.
I want to know where they got the football helmet for the mouse. That was my big thing. And how'd they get the mouse to wear it?
So it was one of the visual aids he used, and he had a mouse trap that he made one of his associate pastors load. We were all waiting for the snap to happen, but it was one of his visual aids. Well, he had a picture up on the screen of this mouse wearing a little football helmet and sitting in front of a mouse trap with the piece of cheese on it. Jason was just so intrigued, wanting to know how they got the helmet on the mouse.
Yeah.
The mouse is so tiny, and they got this little helmet and it's sitting on him, and he's ready to get the cheese.
We're
I'm
going to
like,
have to go buy some mice and some football helmets and see how to do that. Super glue.
Oh, Peter's going to be all over us now. I can see it coming. All right.
Did you have more to go on?
No,
on that?
not really. Just get over it. Don't. It's funny that Brian Nagley and I sat out in the parking lot before I went into the sermon, and we talked for 5 minutes about forgiveness and the people in the area and things about
you have
some
to
of our
practice
experiences.
forgiveness.
Sure,
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, the other point that he which makes a lot of sense, is when you don't forgive somebody, who does it hurt?
Right.
It hurts you.
It hurts you. It's so much harder to be negative than it is to be positive. It's just it's
Now I
reach
went
out your substance.
Yes, I went to Calvary Christian Center this morning and listened to Pastor Mike Ciociola. That's the senior pastor's son, and he preached a great message also this morning. So I said that to say this: I went there because Thomas Burns needs to go to church.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, because I need to hear the Word of God, and I need to hear some good preaching, right? Because I've got this sin nature, and
the founders knew that. Too.
yes, so it's not. I would have rather just kicked back at home because I was tired, but it was better for me to go because I recognized the need.
Yeah.
So I need to be reminded that I should be shifting in this direction.
Right.
And there's many things that I need to remind myself over and over again that I need to do or need to change, because that's just the nature of the game, right?
Isn't it funny, though, after you don't want to go? Because Tammy has to drag me to church. every time we go. Literally.
Just about every time.
She has to drag me.
And he always goes, well, is Dave going to preach tonight? Because if it's not Dave, do we really have to go? And I'm like, yeah, we have to go.
Yeah. But the thing is, every time after I go, I'm like, man, I'm really glad I went. I'm glad I was there to see that because it was really good. But the fact is that if you come around the next week, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go tonight. I'd rather just kick it by the pool, have a fire, relax. But then every time we go, I'm good to go. So it's one of those things of just do it.
Well, and then the thing about the need that Tom was saying that he needed to go to church. Well, what part of the message was last night was that you don't forgive someone because they deserve it. Jesus didn't forgive us because we deserve it.
Nope.
I know I don't deserve it, but we need it.
Yeah.
You forgive because they need it, you need it, not because anybody deserves it.
Right.
Yeah. And here's the scripture, and Tammy's got her Bible here, so I borrowed it. And it says, this is Hebrews 10:25. It says, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. Okay? So basically, that's just saying what I just said. We need to
congregate together.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to be in that unit that God ordained, the church, and assembling together and exhorting one another. Okay, so even if you got to be drugged down there by your wife. Right?
Whoa, talking about being drug places, I'm looking at this list of events down here at the bottom.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of junk
There's
going
a
on.
lot of events, and
Let's start at the top.
yeah, we'll ramble through them. The first thing starts tomorrow is our first event. We have a rally happening at the Capitol. It's called Stop the Water Grab Rally. James Gallagher will be there. It'll be happening at the north steps of the Capitol, and it starts at noon.
Yes. And there's a bus leaving from Yuba City. Call them first thing in the morning. Call the Farm Bureau. There's 5 of us representing Jefferson going, and I just want to give a shout out. It's Becky Bowen's birthday. She's the chairman for the Yuba Sutter.
Tomorrow is?
Today is.
Today is.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Becky.
Yes, happy birthday, Becky.
Awesome.
So she's the chairman of the Yuba Sutter Jefferson Formation Committee, and she's 39. Her and Jack Benny, same age.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so anyway,
She's 39?
yes. Can you believe it?
I was thinking 35, maybe. That's awesome.
But anyway, there's a bus leaving tomorrow from on Plura Avenue at the Farm Bureau. It's at 10:30. So call them early in the morning if you want to go.
Cool.
Yeah. Happy
Yes.
birthday, Becky.
Yes, happy birthday, Becky.
Happy birthday,
We
Becky.
love Becky.
And later on that same day, also tomorrow happening, is an ice cream social for Brandon Barnes, and that's being hosted by the Feather River Tea Party, and their meetings are held at the Crossroads Community Church over on B Street, I believe, and their meeting starts at 6:30. So everybody wants to go out and support Brandon Barnes and also get some ice cream.
There you go.
Are we having an after party?
We should.
We could.
Let's just say the answer's always yes.
If we can pull Brandon Barnes back over there, yeah, I think we should. Why not?
I mean, heck, we have the spot. It's going to be the place to be from now on.
Yeah.
Works
After
for me.
party always. So then
I'm going home, going to bed.
I can swing an after party.
Sleep's overrated.
Sleep is overrated. I get up at 5 too, but life's too short. I don't want to miss anything.
That'll be Tuesday for me. So I have a crane coming Tuesday, so I'll be up all night.
There you
It'll
go.
be okay.
Oh boy. Then on Thursday we have the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans meeting. That's August 23rd, Tuesday. Starts at 6:30, and it is at our Republican headquarters at 441 Bridge Street, Suite E. And yeah, after party. Why not?
We'll give everybody a few chips.
And then we have our Constitution seminar, which is happening on August 25th. That's next Saturday. It's a 6-hour seminar from 9 to 3. That's going to be held at the Church of Glad Tidings campus, Building 500, rooms 210 and 212. So you'll want to show up for that.
And that's held specifically. I mean, the whole reason we did this was to get the candidates to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And, we want all the people to show up too, but we specifically want the candidates to show up. Are we going to give them a little time to talk during lunch?
Of course, we always do. Any candidate who shows up at one of our seminars, you are definitely going to get an opportunity to speak to the crowd at lunchtime. Because we don't leave for lunch. I go ahead and provide the lunch. It's there. We'll eat in the same room. And that is the time that I let the candidates step up and have a little speech time.
Perfect.
So another good opportunity. So don't miss that. And then on September 1st, we're going to have a movie matinee over at the headquarters at 1 p.m. And we're going to show that movie Monumental. We show a couple tidbits out of that movie in different areas of my U.S. Constitution course. So it's very educational. And we're going to get to watch the whole movie.
That was the one where they had
The formula from
4 or 5 sides. 6
the
sides
Pilgrim's
of it.
formula.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was fascinating. I
Yes.
want to see more of that.
Very
Yeah.
fascinating. So
Cool.
Kirk Cameron it's like a documentary. It's very intriguing, things you never heard before. Then there is a candidate fundraiser happening for Dr. Bal Dillon on September 5th. It's not at our headquarters. This is one already on the books. It's happening at Pete's Restaurant and Brew House at 6 p.m. So that's the first candidate fundraiser that I know about. So I went ahead and put it on our calendar. Then there's our first candidate fundraiser for Mark Boomgarden is happening on September 7th, 7 to 9. And it'll either be an appetizer and drinks, or, we either do one or the other, an appetizer and drinks
Right.
or dessert and drinks. So we'll get that squared away. But 7 to 9, our first local candidate fundraiser at the headquarters, followed by the following Friday night is going to be John Missler from 7 to 9. We do have him on the books for Saturday, but we have a second event that Saturday, which we can do 2 events in one day, but we're going to check with him to see if we can switch him to Friday to keep our candidate events on Fridays to keep it consistent. So we'll see if that works. If it doesn't, we'll have it on Saturday. No problem. But that Saturday at 11, we're having another movie matinee. This is a very special, exclusive movie screening. Now, it's not just a portion of the movie. We get to see the whole movie, and the movie is called Lavoy, Dead Man Talking. And it is the true story of Lavoy Finicum and how he was assassinated by, basically, the federal government.
Right.
And while he was
and
standing
the
for
Oregon
liberty.
State Police. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and his wife, Jeanette Finicum, his widow, will be here.
We'll be there, yes.
And she will be there she'll do a speech afterwards and do a question and answers. And then also the director of the film, Mark, I can't remember his last name.
Farr? Is it Farr or Bar? Farr?
Yeah. Yeah, something like that. I don't have my flyer pulled up at the moment, but the movie producer will be there as well. And so that's a really special event. 1 o'clock.
So you're missing.
I'm sorry, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. You're missing one. The next one is September 17th. That's at River Valley.
Oh, I kind of put him out of order.
No, okay.
I messed that one up. It's out of order. It's mentioned on there. So September 17th, I was going to have a Constitution party until I realized that was the same night as the Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum at River Valley. And they're going to be hosting John Garamendi and Charlie Schaup, both running for House of Representatives, and then the sheriffs.
At 6, yeah.
Yeah, so 6 o'clock will be Garamendi and Schaup, and then 7 o'clock will be Barnes and Houck, the
Right.
local Sutter County sheriff. And so that was on September 17th.
And I think Charlie's coming over after the, I've got to text him again. He said he would, but.
To the headquarters?
To the headquarters.
For, of course, our
right.
after party.
After party.
So we always have to have an after party.
So, hey.
Did I skip I think I skipped the Blues and Brews. No, I talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the 25th of August.
I might have skipped it because...
No, it's on the same
You talked about it on the
day,
beginning of the
yeah.
show.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
Because we are having an after party. And it's from 8 to whenever.
Yeah.
And 8 till whenever
8
we
till
get time.
closing.
And we know Dave Shaw's going to show up for that to speak a little bit on that. Hopefully we can get Mark over there too afterwards and have those two talk, and maybe Brandon.
Yeah.
But we'll see what's going on with those guys. But I know for sure Dave Shaw is already committed to coming by and doing that for us.
Yeah. So that
after
was
the Blues
August
Brews and
25th.
Barbecue.
There's a lot happening that day.
Yeah, there is.
You got my seminar, then the Blues and Brews, which you can make them all if you really wanted a full
I'm
day.
not paying $60 at the gate for blues and brews and barbecues.
Well, I would have.
It's for the children.
For the children.
I don't. I've been
Pastor.
sleeping on the job. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it's not for that. Well,
But
I
I-
actually
but I
no,
do
I'm
have
wrong.
this.
I'm wrong. You're right.
How many? Speaking of that, real quick, how many sheriffs does Brandon Barnes have now? Like 35.
No,
I'm just. It jumps up every
I
week.
think like
so
all of them.
It just seems like every week he's got a few more sheriffs backing him or endorsing him. So I really don't know. It's my opinion that he's got them all. But anyways, and Dennis Houck has how many?
I don't know.
That's a lot.
I hope both of them are reading their Bill of Rights and getting a
Yes,
clearer
that's
understanding
all.
of it.
Let's just understand that.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, Randy's moving to Idaho.
I know. I talked to him last week. He was just crossing the Nevada border into Idaho when I talked to him. So yeah, he's pretty happy about it, but at the same time he's kind of bummed out. I think it's
Yeah.
bittersweet, but I hate to
Okay.
see him go. But yeah, he is leaving.
Him and thousands of other people
To an open carry
are
state.
leaving California. There's a mass exodus. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is big time. One of our fellows from Glad Tidings Church is also moving. John Holmes,
John Holmes.
yeah, is moving there too. I mean, it just seems like everybody. I mean, they're just
They're dropping
Gone.
like flies.
getting out of California.
We're gonna lose them. All of our good people.
Well, depending on what happens with this next race,
We may be joining.
no, we may be splitting too. I'm sure we can do a live stream, a radio show from back there to here. So, you know,
For me right now, I'm still planning to stick it out and fight it out. So
Yes, too.
Yeah.
In it to win it.
Not going to cut and run now. Waiting for John Cox and his giant veto pen.
exactly.
Yes.
Now, we should have some, by the end of the month, we hope to have a lot of election material for John Cox campaign.
Yes. Help is on the way.
Help is on the way. Just got to get you lazy Republicans and conservatives and walkaways to get out and vote.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
your vote does count.
It does
Honestly,
count,
it
yeah.
does. It
I don't
really
want to see him lose
really
by
does.
14 votes.
Oh gosh.
and we need help to man the call center and stuff like that.
Yeah, let me go on with a few more events as we are getting short on time, because one of the things is a telethon that I want to talk about. But we have, so going on in September, we talked about September 17th, the Chamber of Commerce. Then we have the next one, September 21st, is a candidate fundraiser for Bal, and that is at our headquarters, Yuba Sutter Republican headquarters, from 7 to 9, September 21st for Bal Dillon. And then the 19th, we have another Yuba Sutter Chamber of Commerce candidate forum. This time it's at Yuba City High School. At 6 p.m., you have Jim Nielsen and Philip Kim for State Senate. Then at 7, you have the candidates for Assembly 3rd District, James Gallagher and Sonia Ari. Airy. Okay, and then we have a big event hosted by the Republican Central Committee, Sutter County Republican Central Committee, with hopefully the assistance of the constitutional Republicans, Republican women. We're hoping to kind of all Republicans hands on deck to help out with this event for Judge Bailey candidate held at the fairgrounds on September 24th. So,
And hopefully Judge Bailey can make it.
He's signed on.
yes,
Okay.
he is.
He's confirmed.
Okay.
And there's several other guest speakers that are lined up to be there. I don't want to ramble off because I might be wrong, but there's a bunch.
Yeah.
Then, did I say then the next thing is our telethon. I have it on our calendar. that on September 22nd, we're going to be holding a telethon at the headquarters. We're going to probably Facebook Live a lot of it. We're going to be showing different things on the big screen in the headquarters during this telethon, but it's basically we're going to be there from 11 to 4, and we'd like everybody to show up with their cell phones, and we're going to be making phone calls for candidates.
Yeah.
It's my birthday telethon.
Your birthday's the next day. This will be the preparation for your birthday. Because you know what?
My birthday's a week long.
After the telethon, we'll have an after party.
For my birthday.
It'll stretch into the next day.
I know. Believe me, I know.
Okay, how old are you going to be, Jason?
29.
Yeah,
I'm 10 years younger than Becky.
Tammy, what day is the NRA dinner? Is it October 10th?
It is
Or
October
the 6th?
I think it's, when do I have it on? Oh, no, it's the 20th, October 20th.
October 20th. Okay.
Yep, NRA dinner at the fairgrounds, October 20th at 5 p.m. Yep.
Those are always fun. That's where you get the girls in the nightgowns that hold up the
Nightgowns?
the bottle of tequila and the shotgun. It's awesome.
Yahoo!
I thought that was Ducks Unlimited.
Maybe it is. I don't know. But I mean, I saw that in the.
They got guns, whatever it is.
I saw that in the LA Times one time, and I just thought, we get, me, myself included, we get so into what we're doing with our guns and stuff that we just make it so easy for the liberals to go, look at this. But it's fun. If they
Look
would
at
show up,
those-
they'd have a good time.
Look at those rednecks.
But it's just funny whenever you see the good old boys, I mean, a bottle of tequila or whatever you're drinking at the time, bottle of whiskey, and a shotgun.
I was told that they're going to be raffling off like 88 guns.
See? There you go.
It's
And I'll bet they have a bar.
88. I know there's that Dirty Dozen, and then there's a 13th one thrown in there.
Oh, but there's
Is
yeah,
it
that's
88 total?
Yeah, it's always a lot.
Okay.
It's pretty
We
good
have
deal.
the information for you down at our headquarters.
Yes.
So come down to the headquarters, and you can get the information on that and find out how to get tickets and all that. So
And what are the hours on the headquarters?
the hours starting this week are going to be Monday through Friday from 5 to 8 in the evenings.
AM.
No.
That's what Lou said yesterday.
I'll
so I
be
just
there.
figured through it there. But no, it's PM. It's in the evening.
Yes, PM in the evening. Then after our big Judge Bailey dinner at the fairgrounds, we're going to have on September 26th, not we, but the Chamber of Commerce is hosting another candidate forum at Boyd Hall, and it will be starting at 6 o'clock for the Sutter County Supervisor District 3, Paul Bossy and Mike Ziegenmeyer. And then at 7, it'll be the Sutter County Superintendent of Schools candidates, Val Dillon and Tom Rooser. And then it'll be September 27th, time for the fourth Thursday to come around for the Yuba Sutter Constitutional Republicans meeting at 6:30. And then rounding off September, on the 28th of September, will be our candidate fundraiser for Brandon Barnes from 7 to 9. Another Chamber
got
of Commerce
30 seconds.
candidate forum at the Yuba County Government Building, 6 p.m. will be Yuba County Supervisor District Supervisor District 3, Andy Vasquez and Joan Saunders.
That's
Then-
one. Right?
Oh, it is one. I copied and pasted that. Okay. And then at 7 is Marysville City Council. Then candidate fundraiser for Dave Shaw on October 5th, 7 to 9 at the headquarters. And then Mike Ziegenmeyer, October 12th, is his fundraiser at the headquarters. Then the NRA, October.